Hello, everyone. We are live. I wanted to do this live stream because there was a lot of opinions and controversy with this post. We have over 300 votes, and it is like 40% favoring the LG G4. So I wanted to, give you my opinion and look at this G4 versus S90D or really any QDOLED from different perspectives. And of course, I'm going to read your comments. This is what it's going to be about, just a conversation, and see what your take is with these talking points. So I see we already have a lot of comments. So let me start by saying that my purpose is not to, make anyone feel good or bad, or, for you to get confirmation bias that you did, the right decision. If you already have one of these TVs, enjoy them. Okay, they are all amazing. But I do have a very, very strong, very strong opinion about this, and I actually disagree with the community on this one, and I will explain you why. But you're free to comment, and I'm gonna read what you think about this. So the first thing is, let's ask the question differently, okay? Because a lot of people like the brand, okay? You like the LG brand, and a lot of people don't like Samsung, okay? So my purpose, my goal when I'm buying a TV is picture quality, okay? I don't care about the brand. Of course, we know Samsung has some issues, and LG has very good settings. The firmware updates have been very solid, and actually I had no issues. I do have some issues with the LG C1 with lock settings and all of that, but for the most part, it has been pretty good. But now, if I tell you, what would you get? An LG QD-OLED or a Samsung WRGB OLED? I think that would be 90-10. You tell me if I'm wrong. If I tell you right now, LG has a QD-OLED, let's say the LG G5 or G7, whatever, it's QD-OLED. And now that versus a Samsung WRGB with the MLA, equally as bright, let's say same price, what would you say? I think that would be a no-brainer. I mean, the common agreement would be super favoring the LG. Okay, so I think with that we can establish that the brand here, the bad reputation of Samsung, and maybe the good reputation of LG is definitely a big factor, because in my opinion, the community is choosing the G4 because it's LG and not necessarily because the technology is better. Okay, you tell me if I'm wrong, if you disagree with that. Let me see, and I will read all the comments. Okay, I'm gonna read all the comments if I can. Also here, Otaku says my S90D came with a misaligned back panel and won't pass through Dolby Atmos on my PC. A misaligned back panel. Huh. So you mean like the port was crooked or something? That's weird. Yeah, I had a lot of issues with Samsung and the quality control. I mean, I had to go through 6 TVs to end up with 2. Okay, and I was still not 100% happy with it. The ports, maybe this is what's happening, like an issue. I don't really know, like physically, if you have an issue or if it's software or a combination. I don't know what. I don't understand the problem. But I have to say that the ports in the back of the TV, they are not solid. For example, the power port where you put the power connector on this last S90D is not, how can I say, it is going out of place. If I push the power cord, it goes out of place. So it's like, it is not solid. Build quality is not great. Of course, I'm not gonna replace the TV because of that, but I also saw the Artings review of one of their Samsung reviews, and they complain about an HDMI port or something that was out of place, and they had to open the back of the TV, and the fix was very easy, but yeah, quality control is terrible. But yeah, let's see what you think about this. This first talking point, to see what you think about that. So Shadow Master says, I have to agree, LG is leagues ahead in accessibility. See, we have, that's what I mean. They have nice panel, but quality sucks. Yeah, I mean, I had, well, I have that bent panel, but I don't think there was, yeah, Samsung definitely has to maybe improve their packaging. But I think that was the person who installed the TV who messed it up. But yeah, I did have some issues. There's always a scratch somewhere on the TV for some reason. Minor stuff. The back is not. It's not. It never feels like it is brand new, immaculate, absolutely perfect. Never on any of the TVs. I think the first S90C I got was the closest to perfection. But of course, if you look for the defects, you're most likely going to find them. And LG is not exempt of that either. So let's see. What's up, Mystic? The TV edge is too slim. Yeah. These QDOLEDs are crazy thin. I don't like that at all. I've seen the G4. The G4 looks a lot thicker, which I prefer that. I want a TV that looks solid. It's not that fragile. I'm even afraid to move the TV with someone else helping me. I'm afraid because it is so thin. You have no place to put your hands on the TV. So it looks so fragile, and it is. It is very fragile. So for seconds, as I had LG B2 for 4 years, and to the last minute I used, it was fully perfect. Bought a B4 a couple of months ago. However, the only thing missing is Samsung's smart calibration. Well, that feature sucks. Samsung smart calibration is terrible. They are not missing anything. I tried that multiple times. It's just a bad idea. And the reason why it doesn't work is because QDOLED looks completely different on camera. And Samsung should know that, and they should compensate for that. So because it looks so different on camera, and you're using the camera of your phone to calibrate the TV, the feedback that the camera is giving the TV is completely wrong. And as a consequence, when you do the Samsung smart calibration, the picture looks kind of green. It looks green, and the reason why the result is green is because the TV looks magenta on camera. So that green to magenta balance is messed up. They should know that, and they should compensate for that. But maybe different cameras will make the TV look more magenta or less magenta, and they would have to know specifically which model of phone you're using to have like a profile, calibrated for that phone. So I don't think they work enough on that. I think it's a great idea, but they didn't do a good job. with that feature, and that is actually absolutely terrible, in my opinion. So Leo here brings a good point. Well, my fellows, don't forget that LG G4 is way more expensive than S90D. Just saying. Well, that was gonna be my second point. So the first point, I think, let me see if I can have someone agreeing with me on this one, because I think it's a no-brainer. Beam Up says the S90D is that good in picture quality that people always put the G4 against and not the C4. Yes, and I will talk about that too. But well, I think, man, we can all agree in general. I mean, if LG was the QD OLED and Samsung was the WRGB OLED, it would be a no-brainer. I think there will be no discussion whatsoever. You will go with the LG QD OLED because everyone, I think, would prefer the LG settings, calibration controls, their firmware updates, even the build quality, less defects and less issues. From what I've seen on the internet and from people's comments, I think it's a no-brainer. So think about that. So are you choosing the G4? The community is choosing the G4 over the S90D. Are you choosing the G4 because it's LG? Or, of course, you have to consider everything. Price, the brand definitely matters for these reasons that we're talking about. But when I really ask, which one would you go with? Really, the thing that I care the most, and I think everyone should care the most about that, is picture quality. Okay, so I don't care about really the brand. Of course, the brand matters because these reasons, but picture quality for the money, let's say. Money is definitely important. If you sell me a G4 for $5, I'll buy 10 of them right now. Okay, so the price definitely matters. And the price difference is gigantic for my, for where I am. Here in the US and the deal that I got on the S90D and even the S90C, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I got it for half the price. You cannot, I mean, it's a no conversation there. If you can get the S90D QD OLED for half the price of the G4, there's nothing to talk about. But the community post was, the price was in Europe, okay? So it was completely different. They are actually very close in price. So of course, price matters a lot. Okay, let me go through some of the comments, and I'll try to read all of them. So you feel free to comment. Samsung has to make the edge stronger and the panel much more scratch safe. Then nice. Yeah, so you see, those things are important, but on the other hand, Samsung is cheaper, and it's cheaper for a reason. They are definitely cutting corners. Okay, for example, the stand of this S90C and S90D is plastic. I don't like that at all. That looks cheap as it gets. Okay, I was like afraid, man, is that plastic? It's basically two plastic legs. It's like an L, and it's plastic. It only has metal at the bottom, but the whole thing holding the TV is two very thin pieces of plastic, and it is very easy to install because all you have to do is just to, you don't need a screws or anything, but it feels so cheap. But I'm like, okay, is that the reason? Are those the reasons why this TV is so cheap? I'm okay with that because I care about picture quality the most. Would I pay, $50 more to have, some iron, the stand of the TV to be stronger? Yeah, I would pay $50 more to make it better, but maybe it would increase the price of the TV even more. So build quality and all the potential issues, definitely, but that's why it's cheaper. The G4 definitely looks more premium, and it's not even close in my opinion. But yeah, what I'm looking for when people ask me this G4 or S90D, and I tell you, my opinion is based on picture quality. Okay. So I am not considering too much else, really. Picture quality, how they look, and I will tell you, of course. Yeah, cleaning the QDOLEDs is a mess too. They are so fragile. The screen itself is extremely fragile to scratches. Extremely fragile. Actually, that's a reason why I had to replace one of the S95Cs that I got. The protective film of the S95C, out of the box, the top left corner was already peeled. And because it has some glue, the foam, this white foam to protect the TV, was already in there. And that soft white foam actually scratched the surface of the screen, which is crazy. I don't think that would happen with the surface that these LG TVs have. I think that's a lot stronger. So they are very fragile. And if you are into cleaning and you want to have your TV perfectly clean all the time, you might scratch the screen. I don't think you can keep it perfectly all the time. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get an air blower and I'm just gonna blow the dust the TV off, and that's it. I'm not gonna even go in and touch it too much. And then one day after a long time, if I start noticing it's too dirty or something, then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. But you cannot just clean the TV every day because you're gonna scratch the screen. It's very bad. Yeah, you're definitely right to have a fear of scratching the TV. So yeah, it is very thin. You can bend the screen very easily. I saw how they bent the screen in front of me. The S90D, they flip it up upside down to install the base because it's easier, of course. They bent the screen. Okay, maybe it was like that out of the box, but I strongly believe that's how that TV got bent, and they bent the screen very bad. It was a bow, so very fragile on every single way. I don't like it at all when it comes to that. I mean, if I compare that with my Pioneer Elite Pro 151FD, this Pioneer Kuro 9th generation, it's like NASA build quality from NASA versus, the cheapest Chinese build quality you can ever imagine. It's that far away. It's not even close. Okay, everything on this Pioneer Kuro is metal, solid. It's like NASA quality, I'm telling you. That's what I really like. Of course, that TV was a lot more expensive. It was like $6,000. And I think if they build a TV with this level of craftsmanship today, it might be even more expensive, like $10,000, something crazy like that. So yeah, definitely matters. The G4 definitely looks a lot. The build quality definitely looks a lot better, and I don't think there's an argument on that. It's not even close. Speed3 says you can pass through Atmos through the Samsung. I haven't really get into audio yet. Yeah, get a flashlight, you will see micro scratches. Yeah, very fragile. So yeah, that's the thing. Brand. So I don't care about brand, but what I mean by I don't care about brand is I would buy, if I can afford a TV, that's the best. Without, like, for example, I'm telling you, I don't like Sony because this and that. If they change that, then I like Sony. It's like, I don't really care. I am not like, some people maybe had a bad experience with Samsung customer services or something like that, and then, I will never buy Samsung again. I would recommend you to look at it in a different way. You are buying the TV from a store. So really, maybe think about it. You're not giving the money to Samsung. You are indirectly. We are paying to the store. Think about it that way, because if Samsung has the best product for you, who cares? I mean, you just want to get the best product. So I try to not, you make it personal with these brands. Like, they don't care about me. I don't care about them. I'm just gonna buy whatever is, whichever is the best. And I'm thinking about picture quality more than anything else. But of course, money is definitely second place. In game mode, SDR peak brightness high, medium, low, or off. Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to reduce ABL on this Samsung QDOLEDs, you can turn off peak brightness and reduce contrast to 25. And that gets rid of most of the ABL, most of it. You might not even notice. But I tested that on HDR. I'm not sure about SDR. I have not tested that on SDR. But yeah, that would be the reason to turn off the peak brightness, to reduce ABL. Otherwise, more brightness just looks better. That's not even a question. So yeah, let's see what you guys are talking about here. That's the problem. It would revert back to stereo everything. I restarted my PC. My C2 worked perfect with Atmos. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with that, but I don't have high-end equipment. I'm using a receiver with 4 speakers, a subwoofer, and I have some drivers that I installed to get Dolby sound and surround, basically, and it works very well. The surround works for everything, all the games, and it's awesome. I can hear things coming from the back, and yeah, I'm not using the TV for the audio. I have the optical cable connected to the PC, and the PC is doing the audio part. For passing through Atmos through your TV to your sound system via eARC, you need to use the CRU tool. You can add compatibility for Atmos, and you will be able to choose Atmos and 5.1 in Windows after. Oh, that's interesting. So the CRU app can do a lot of things. That's interesting. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this and I'll check it out later. See what that's about. Thanks for sharing that, man. You need to edit the audio metadata with CRU. Okay. So here Leo says A95L, then S95D, then G4, then S90D, then C4. I would revert the whole thing, actually. So I would get the C4 out of the equation and revert the order completely. In my opinion, the problem with the A95L, in my opinion, is, of course, price is nonsense, okay? But taking price out of the equation, to play games, the A95L is dimming, okay? And you cannot turn off the dimming. Sony doesn't have an option to turn off that dimming on the service menu. That's a deal breaker. All that brightness and all the accuracy that Sony is proud of goes down the toilet when the whole screen starts dimming because you have hot elements on the games. So the A95L for gaming, it's a no-go, in my opinion. I've seen it on the videos, side by side, how it starts dimming, and you cannot fix that, okay? So the price, that's just too much. That's on top of that, you cannot get more brightness. But yeah, that's not for everyone. Not everyone goes to the service menu, get more brightness, but you cannot do that with the A95L either. And yeah, it has 2 HDMI 2.1 ports. That's not a big deal, but it's more expensive and you have less. So yeah, it's not. It will be the last option for gaming, in my opinion. The S95D, you have a matte finish. You have the One Connect box, which has issues and limitations which I didn't know, and nobody told me. Okay, I've never seen it, never saw that on any review, nowhere. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, every time I have the chance, you need to know that the One Connect box doesn't let you use NVIDIA image scaling. You cannot use DLDSR, which is basically upscaling to get more pixels on the games. Let's say you get a game that's easy to run, you can get more pixels and get an image that's very close to 8K, which is awesome. Okay, I'm excited to get the 5090. And if I cannot use DLDSR, I would not get the 5090 because there's no way I'm going to spend all that money to play a game that's easy to run and I cannot get more pixels. Okay, the One Connect box doesn't let you use that. There's no way to fix it. Okay, if you know, let me know. I couldn't find a way to fix that anywhere. It is not possible. It doesn't matter if you turn off DSC on the service menu, it just doesn't work. The other problem is with the One Connect box of the S95C or S95D, you cannot eliminate this true 4K resolution that's on every single TV out there. That has to be eliminated from the EDID for your PC. Otherwise, you get stretching in some games. Even if you have the resolution 3840 by 2160, you get stretching. So what I mean by that is when you look at a wheel of a car, it doesn't look rounded, it looks oval. And you're gonna be like, why everything looks weird? Everything looks like this. So now in some games, you can actually fix that by choosing borderless mode. But if you choose borderless mode, in some games, you cannot use native HDR. You see the problem. Nobody told me that, okay? And that's such a deal breaker because of that One Connect box. Not to mention that you can have potentially dropouts. Now, in my experience with two S95Cs, I never saw any dropouts because I was probably, I got lucky, or maybe because I got an optical HDMI 2.1 cable. But I do have to say that the majority of the time, I was not using 144 hertz. And that might potentially give you more issues with drops. But that's my experience, and I have to throw that out there because nobody is talking about it. Okay, yes, dropouts is a common issue, but those other issues or limitations that I'm mentioning it are a big deal problem, and yeah, nobody talks about that. And of course, we know the S95D has a matte finish, which is a terrible idea. That TV under lighting conditions looks like an office monitor, which is crazy because the S95D actually has the best panel out there. Nothing comes even close. The S95D can give you more than 3,000 nits peak brightness. That's crazy for an OLED, and way over 300 nits full screen. That is awesome. Absolutely incredible brightness. And we're talking about QDOLED colors. So it's not like everything looks washed out. So it is such a shame that Samsung is ruining their best panel with that One Connect box and a matte finish. It's just crazy. Not to mention that the audio of the S95C and S95D is broken. Okay, I tested two S95Cs, and the reason why the audio is broken is because of the design. And the S95D, the design in the back is almost the same. Okay, so the problem is rattling. The back of the TV is plastic and it's rattling all the time. It's like every time there's bass, it's rattling. So I understand if you get the best TV you're not gonna be using, most people are not gonna be using the audio from the TV. You might use a sound bar or a home theater audio system or something. But man, the audio of the TV needs to be usable at least. Otherwise, don't even include audio. Okay, don't include audio, because if I buy a product that has something that's not working as intended, or that it is broken, I'm gonna return it or replace it, which is what I did. I was like, there's no way the best TV that Samsung did in 2023, their flagship, has broken sound. It cannot be like this by default. This has to be a defective unit. Same. I got another one, same crap. And people confirm in the comments, S95D is exactly the same issue. So it is such a shame, because otherwise the S95D just got tier. It just has an incredible QDOLED panel. So yeah, and G4 versus S90D, that's the topic of this live stream. And let me tell you, man, I'm gonna let me read more comments. I'll give you my opinion later. Works with the G3. Okay, so that's the CRU thing that you share. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Dol says, gonna return my S90D. S90D don't want to baby my TV. Oh, because of the scratches. I mean, that's fair. Okay, you see, everyone's opinion is valid. Some people have different deal breakers, let's say. For example, for me, Sony with a dimming, that's a deal breaker. Like, I would never buy a Sony TV if they don't give me the option to turn off the dimming. Like LG gives you the option to turn off the dimming on the service menu, but the option is there. Samsung also gives you the option. I think Philips also has the option, or Panasonic. I don't remember. With the HDTV test, I saw the reviews of one of those TVs. So I'm not sure which one it was, but definitely there was another brand who also allow you to turn off the dimming. So for me, that's my deal breaker. But for other people, deal breaker might be different. Okay, maybe you do want the audio of the TV to be the best. Okay, so you're looking at that Panasonic. Yeah, it's a WRGB OLED, but you don't want to buy a sound system. You want the audio from the TV to be the best, or maybe you do want the sound system, but you don't want to use it all the time or something. So that's your thing. Everyone has their own things that they cannot live with. Or so for you, having to take care of the screen or not being able to clean the screen without being afraid of scratching the screen, that's definitely a very valid point. I don't like that at all either. These QD-OLEDs are so fragile that is absolutely crazy. For me, it's not a deal breaker. If it looks great, I would still try to live with it. But for you, it is not. So I totally understand that. Otaku says, yeah, that's kind of a problem. Mine have to use a third-party software when LG works out of the box. I am returning mine and getting a C4 anyway. So, I don't know which third-party software. Oh, you're talking about the audio issue. Yeah, I have to look into that. I don't really know what that issue you were having. But yeah, I mean, if that's a deal breaker. But the thing is, man, with a TV, the most important thing is the picture quality. So are you gonna go and get less picture quality because of the audio? That's the thing. Because C4 versus S90D, I don't think that's close. The only thing where the G4 is better is when it comes to the screen coating. The C4 has the best screen, the best looking screen under some lighting conditions, and it's not even close. It is better than the G4 because it doesn't have the MLA. The MLA has raised blacks under lighting conditions. It is less worse than QD OLEDs, but it's there. So QD OLED is the worst under lighting conditions, then the G4, then the C4 is the absolute best. So if you're gonna, for me, if you're gonna watch your TV in a living room with some lighting, the C4 is the best TV. Okay, in my opinion. You can get a mini LED, but that's not an OLED. Okay, so I would go with the C4. Of course, if you have too much light, then why would you get a premium TV? Just get a cheap LCD. Is what I would recommend. But when it comes to the picture quality on a dark room, which is what I focus on, I'm gonna turn off the lights anyway. For me, I think QD any QD is gonna be far superior to the C4. It's not even close. Okay. Yes, the C4 has about 1000 nits of peak brightness, which is similar to the S90D or S90C. But when it comes to colors, it's not close. Okay, so it's a worse picture quality. So are you gonna do that change because of the audio? I would try to figure out a different solution for the audio issue. Just waiting for the S90F if it is still a problem. Yeah, the coating. I don't think Samsung is gonna change the coating. Hopefully they do, and hopefully they get rid of the matte finish. That's for sure. That matte finish was just a terrible idea. A matte finish has no place on a premium display. It's just a bad idea. And the reason is, what is the justification of a matte finish? To improve the way the TV looks under sub-optimal lighting conditions? That makes no sense. The best of the best, a premium display, is for perfect conditions, ideal conditions. You don't get super expensive TV to not have ideal conditions to watch the TV. That's my opinion. So it makes no sense to try to make the best TV look okay under bad lighting conditions. Because the problem is the matte finish also has the potential to add some grain or oily look and less, sharp look because of the coating. It's like washing through a window that is not perfectly glossy. It's kind of one of these windows that is not perfectly clear. It has some roughness, or like if it was kind of sanded down. It's a terrible idea, so it makes no sense. If they had a matte finish option for the 90 series, I think that would be perfectly fine. But not for the top, for the 95. The 95 has to be glossy. It doesn't make sense otherwise. The 65-inch only here in Europe, and I don't want my TV to be wall mounted. And I can't move it because it is too large. That's why I need now to wait for the 55-inch S90F, hopefully QD-OLED then. That's the thing with Samsung. And for example, with the S90D, which we're talking about today, you could have a WRGB OLED, depending on the region. There are some parts of Europe where the 55-inch is WRGB OLED. So you could have on the same model S90D, a WRGB, a QD OLED that goes up to 2000 nits and over 300 nits full screen brightness, or a QD OLED that goes up to 1500 nits peak and 200 nits full screen. That's a big difference, completely three different TVs. On top of that, there is an S90D version that they are selling specifically at Costco and Sam's Club that has a feature that I don't have on my S90D. I searched that today because someone asked me. It's an auto HDR remastering feature that I don't see here. And I don't think it has it. It's only exclusively for those S90Ds. And they also have, I think, a little bit better sound. So it is crazy that the same model, you can get a completely different TV. Okay? Not to mention, of course, panel lottery. A lot of people are always arguing with, oh, what's better, the C4, the G3, or the G4, or the C3, and The reality is that panel lottery is so important that you might get a G4 with a very, very bad screen uniformity. And you might get a G3 with much better screen uniformity. Or even the same, of course, the same G4. You might get a G4 that has awesome screen uniformity and another one that's very bad. I got, out of these 6 QDOLEDs that I recently ordered, 2 of them had terrible screen uniformity. Absolutely terrible. One of them, I would say, broken, potentially. So one of them had a section of the screen, a very big section of the screen to the right. It was significantly dimmer. And it was not only close to black, even when you go like up to 35% of the grayscale, I was still able to see it. And I used that TV for a long time, and I run manual pixel cleanings, and it was not going away. It was not improving. The defect was there. It was solid, and it was visible for me all the time. That was the first S95C that I replaced. Then another one, one of the S90Ds had 3 lines of pixels near black that they were off completely. 3 lines from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen off, like no, the pixels were not even turning on, close to black. Once it got brighter, like 30% of the grayscale, then no problem, they were turning on. So that's something that might be fixed with more use. But I try to stress test that TV and leave it running through the night and running manual pixel cleanings 3 times. And it was exactly the same. It didn't improve at all. So, sometimes we argue with, which model, but it is super important to get lucky. Honestly, it's the honest truth. You have to get lucky. And if you don't get lucky, then try to have a membership or something. Like I paid for a membership that allowed me to replace the TVs, and that's how I end up with 2 good ones, basically. Not exactly what I was looking for, because I wanted to get the 2000 nits panel for the S90D, but I got 2 very good TVs. But yeah, it's not easy to get the perfect TVs. Is very, very, you have to get lucky, basically. So MVP is asking me, is the S90C good to watch sports on? Well, I think it's overkill. Sports are so low quality, man. Is tremendous. The sports are like 720p, 30 FPS, most of them. So I think it's actually a shame to use a premium display to watch sports. If they were 4K, 60 frames per second, HDR, then for sure. So that's the thing. A lot of people say the G4, for example, has better processing, has a better processor, because, of course, some people care more about the content itself, and that's understandable. The same way I play games that are not very good technically, because I like them, like Elden Ring. It runs very bad, locked to 60 FPS. I would never play any game like that. But Elden Ring is so awesome, I have to play it. So some people want to watch a specific kind of content because they like it. So it's like, if you're a fan of a specific sport, you're not going to say, oh, I'm not going to watch that because it's 24 or 30 FPS, 720p. I'm not watching that. It has to be 4K 60, because then you don't watch any sports. So I understand people who care about processing because you want low quality content to look good. But for me, low quality content is not important because it's low quality. So basically, 24 FPS, in my opinion, sucks. And there's no way to fix that. I don't care how good the motion interpolation is or the processing, it just looks bad. Okay, so I'm not going to decide, for this or the other TV because it has better processing to upscale low resolution, all of that, because low resolution, low FPS sucks, and is that simple? Okay, so but yeah, it is definitely a value argument. If the G4 has better processing, which I don't know, but some people are saying that, oh, G4 has better processing, LG has better processing than Samsung. If that's the case, I would really not. I mean, that would be my last thing in the priority, because I am always going to be interested in the highest quality content. Highest quality content is gaming. It's not even close. I was watching Netflix because I'm going to make a video about Netflix and the Netflix library. A spoiler alert, it looks terrible, in my opinion. All the content looks absolutely horrendous. Okay, it's bad, man. It's low frame rate, full of film grain, it's blurry. The grading is bad. The HDR is very dim. It's terrible, absolutely terrible, in my opinion. It just sucks. So, in my opinion, if you are not using these TVs for gaming, I don't think it's even worth it, honestly. Just to watch a streaming, I will get a mini LED that's cheaper, below $1,000 and as big as possible, and call it a day. I don't think you're getting any quality with this kind of content, honestly. Gaming, it's just something else. It's gaming allows you to see really what these TVs can do. Okay, maximum frame rate. If you can get 144 frames through 4K or even beyond that, okay, with these upscaling techniques, you get the sharpness, the clarity, and the frame rate, and the colorfulness, the HDR, the perfect brightness for the display to look at its best. It's not even close. You cannot get that with anything other than gaming. So when I think about these TVs, I am focused on the highest quality content processing to fix bad content. For me, that's out of the equation, because I don't even want to watch bad content. That's the thing. But of course, I'm gonna watch some movies with the family. I'm paying for Netflix, so I will do it. But it's not going to be like, yeah, I don't think it's worth it, honestly. Worth it. The Shadow Master says, if LG releases a QD OLED, I will retire my C1 immediately. I just don't want to buy Kalman again for Samsung. Want to buy Kalman again? Oh, so you're buying Kalman for LG, Kalman Home for LG. I mean, honestly, I will never, for any reason, pay for software calibration. Never. That's the reason why I haven't bought any colorimeter, spectral radiometer, none of that. That's why I haven't bought any equipment and learned how to calibrate. And I would like to, but the reason is I am not paying the ridiculous amount that they charge for this software calibration. I think it's a ripoff. It's a total ripoff. This software should not be that expensive. Okay, it's just stupid, in my opinion. It makes no sense. So I am okay with spending $500, even $1,000 plus on equipment for calibration. But paying $5 for the software, no. Okay, let alone the thousands of dollars they want to charge for that thing. It's like a membership. It's not that you buy the software. Some of them ask you to every year pay them. It's crazy. Like, it's just a simple software. It's not like a game is like 10 times bigger than that software. It doesn't make any sense, man. Just compare, just think about the budget of developing a game and the budget to develop one of those softwares. Just think about that. It's not even close. So why is that software more expensive than a game? It's just nonsense. So that's why I would never get into calibration because of that. 65-inch, only QD-OLED. All sizes here are WOLEDs. Yeah, in Europe is and I heard someone who said only the the 55 or only the 77 in his country was QDOLED. Yeah, Samsung with this S90D is all over the place. QDOLED is Samsung panel. The best thing can happen. LG invent new OLED generation that can match QDOLED color. They have to get rid of that white subpixel. So yeah, man, let me give you my opinion, okay? I'm gonna read all the comments, okay? You drop your comments. Your opinion matters, okay? Whatever you think, it's your opinion. I respect it. I'm gonna give you my opinion, okay? And it's so, look, when I bought the first Samsung S95C, this was my expectation. I thought, okay, I'm gonna get the TV. I'm probably gonna get drops because everyone is complaining about the drops. And the only reason why I choose the S95C was because of the price. They didn't have the S90C at 55-inch. They had the S90C at $1,300. I'm like, yes, going a little bit beyond what I want to spend is too big. And yeah, it's last year's TV. I think it's too much money. So the S95C was $1139.99, 55 inches. I'm like, okay, that's a good deal. It was on clearance. I got it later. They price matched, and actually it ended up costing me $760. So that was awesome. And I'm like, okay, for that price, I can live with some of the defects, if any. So I thought when I bought QDOLED, I thought I'm gonna hate that. Okay, I'm not gonna like QDOLED. I know the colors are awesome, but how can I get rid of my C1, my LG C1, with that black screen? Okay, the way the screen looks when the lights are on, the screen is black, it's a mirror, it's absolutely amazing. I'm like, QDOLED is not an OLED. If you have lights on the room, you don't have an OLED. And I still stand by that. Like, you don't have an OLED. Right now, this doesn't look black. It's not even close, okay? It looks very, very bad, actually. So I knew, okay, if you turn off the lights, you get perfect blacks. And my only concern was that the brightness of the TV itself, the QDOLED technology, was going to still affect the contrast, because as soon as you have light on the room, the blacks are erased. And maybe they are, okay, but that's not a problem. So after I tested that, I'm like, okay, it's not a problem. It's not what I thought. And I am absolutely blown away with the QDOLED technology. Let me tell you this. Forget about the brightness, okay? Let's equalize the brightness between the G4 or the S90D or any other QDOLED. Let's make the brightness the same, okay? Let's actually watch content that is not even bright at all, okay? And it's not even near blacks, okay? Just like normal content that has nothing going for it. I'm not talking about watching a 4K 60 FPS HDR, impressive demo material. So wow, the TV looks amazing. So I'm talking about just open something normal. That's 4K, of course. I don't like to watch anything blurry, like low quality content. I'm talking about open your 4K game, nothing is going on. The way QDOLED looks, it is so much better and correct to my eyes. And let me tell you, go back and watch one of my first videos when I started this YouTube channel. Okay, at first I got this plasma TV for $25. I was blown away. That's the reason why I opened this YouTube channel. Okay, I was so impressed, and I'm like, $25. People need to know about this. Okay, plasma TVs are the best value for the money, in my opinion. The best picture quality, not the best value for the money, the best picture quality for the money, in my opinion. If you are building a budget gaming PC, plasma TV, bro, that's your display. It doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion. So I was so amazed with that plasma TV. Okay, no perfect blacks, but good contrast, and the colors are so awesome. When I got the LG C1, I did a series of videos basically bashing the LG C1 and telling everyone this looks terrible. The colors are dead. My plasma TV has so much better color. It's not even close. And I recognize today that I was unfair because still the LG C1 is far superior. Okay, it has perfect blacks, it is brighter, it has HDR, and it might even have a wider color gamut. Like if you measure the color gamut of the LG C1, it might be higher than that plasma TV that I was testing. But I now understand why I was so disappointed and why I was bashing the LG C1 so hard coming from a plasma TV. Because RGB, basically, it seems like that WRGB, there is something off about that. It's like when you look at something and you know it is fake, but you cannot quite put your finger on it. So you don't know why, but it looks fake. It doesn't look right. Even if it looks good, you're looking at it and yeah, it is good. And many people might look at it and say, this is awesome. Of course, coming from a crappy LCD, anything's gonna be awesome. But the thing is, I was never convinced, never happy with the colors of the LG C1, especially first impressions. Later, I learned, slowly with the feedback from the community, and I figured out some settings, and I was able to fix HDR because that's the other thing. I bought an HDR display and I opened these games that look absolutely terrible in HDR. I was testing God of War. Okay, the original God of War looks absolutely terrible in HDR. Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the most broken HDR games ever. They fixed it with a remaster, but the original Horizon Zero Dawn was terrible. So I'm like, this HDR is a gimmick. Like it just looks terrible. And that with the colors and me not knowing the settings, but well, later I learned the settings. I punched in some better settings and learned how to fix the games, and everything was looking better. And then I learned to appreciate what the LG C1 is good at. Basically, it has perfect blacks. It has absolutely amazing motion clarity. Unfortunately, LG doesn't have that with the G4. Let me tell you, if the G4 had 120 BFI, it will be end of the story. I would tell you, forget about colors, forget about anything else. Best motion for gaming. That's a no-brainer, okay? It will be so awesome. Unfortunately, LG removed that feature with the C1 G1. Big, big mistake, in my opinion. That's the biggest selling point of those TVs. My LG C1 looks more than 2 times better in motion than these QDOLEDs. It's not even close. Okay, the clarity is so awesome. Basically, you move the camera and it's almost as if it was not moving. If you pan the camera slowly enough, it is like if it is a static picture. If you've never seen a CRT or a plasma even, well, a plasma is not as good, actually. You're gonna be blown away. You're gonna be like, man, this is so awesome. So I learned to appreciate what makes the LG C1 an awesome display. But colors, there was something off about it, okay? Then I learned how to make the skin tones look less green because it was looking kind of green. I realized, man, in comparison with my plasma, people are looking like Martians or something. The calibration was off too. It was also crushing blacks out of the box, but that got a little bit fixed with use, and then I learned how to fix the black crush and all that. But the thing is, as soon as I saw QD OLED in a dark room for the first time, I was like, this is not even close. I don't care about the brightness. It's what I'm saying. Forget about, let's leave brightness out of the equation. If you normalize everything, I don't even need 600 nits. Okay, let's talk about just 100 nits picture quality. Okay, we're not even talking about near black uniformity, none of that. Just something normal. The QDOLED looks correct to me, and the WRGB technology looks like there is something off about this. To my eyes, this is my criteria. Many people might not might not notice that. That's to my eyes. Okay, it's like I'm looking at something and this doesn't look like the real thing. So with QDOLED, it is giving me the impression that everything looks awesome and nothing needs to happen for me to be blown away. Like I am blown away with everything. And that feeling is something special. So that's why I'm telling you, for me, even when the G4 is brighter, okay, the G4 is brighter than the S90D, especially if you get the third generation 1500 nits panel, especially full screen. Because yes, you can get 1500 nits if you go to the service menu. The G4 is 1500 nits, so you might think, oh, that's the same then. It's not the same because the G4 has higher full screen brightness, and that makes the biggest difference. But even when the G4 has higher full screen brightness, the benefit of QDOLED being RGB, self-emissive RGB perfect blacks, that makes the biggest difference, in my opinion. It is a lot more important. Now, the other thing is the screen uniformity. I tested 6 QDOLEDs, okay? 2 S95Cs, 1 S95D, 1 S95C, which is this one, and 3 S90Ds, okay? And 2 of them had terrible screen uniformity. Another one had a okay screen uniformity, but I'm talking about near black, okay? Near black WRGB OLED is terrible to the point where parts of the screen look kind of red, parts of the screen look kind of green. It's a mess. Near black, there's zero accuracy, no way to get something consistent. Okay, so it's not only that it looks darker, you have different colors near black. So even when I'm telling you the screen uniformity of those specific units was not great, as soon as you had brightness, like a bright color, bright full screen color or white, it was perfect. All of them look perfect. So for regular content and everything, like most of the things that you would normally watch, it's gonna look perfect. The uniformity is gonna look perfect, and that gives me a premium feeling. That uniformity of the brightness and the colors gives me a feeling that everything looks awesome. Even black level rays on the games is more tolerable. With my C1, as soon as I see black level rays, I was like, you crush that with reshape, do something, because this looks terrible. With QDOLED, even black level rays was okay. Of course, I would still fix it, but it was more tolerable. So it gives me the feeling that everything looks awesome because everything is uniform. The colors look right. And then the other thing that I was impressed with QDOLED was with the gradation of colors. You have a lot less color banding, to the point where it has to be very bad. The content really has to be terrible, like terrible banding for you to see it. The gradation of colors is so superior. It's not even close, okay? So the G4 might be brighter, but it's that smoothness. It's not going to be even close. So here's the thing. If you have the G4, that's an awesome TV. It's an amazing TV, though. Don't feel, bad or anything like that. It's actually brighter and it's superior in some ways to the S90D. But for me, QDOLED is where it's at, and it's not close. It's not close. Now, for the right price, yes, I would recommend a WRGB if it's a lot cheaper. But the thing is, they are not even cheaper, okay? We have this, for example, we have this Panasonic, I forgot the model. It's the most expensive. They are more expensive than Sony. It's crazy because they have good audio, very good build quality, but it's a WRGB OLED. So my thing is, don't overpay for WRGB. I think QD-OLED is superior and is not even close. So that's my take. I'm gonna read your comments. Let me go back to the end. I'll go to the top and I'll read all your comments. See what you you guys think. So what TV do you have on? Yeah, okay. So we have the Z95A in 55 and 65 USA only. Okay, so let me see what you're talking about. People not appreciate motion clarity because they used to blurry motion on LCD. So I think the blurriness is a problem that goes beyond the motion clarity of the TVs, and gaming is suffering that big time. Gaming in the movies are a mess. Okay, so I think if more people understood about motion, we would have so much better gaming in the movies and everything. These games, these developers and these engines, Unreal Engine, all that, they are abusing this temporal anti-aliasing. They are abusing and smearing and blurring everything for all the wrong reasons, and to the point where it doesn't really make a difference sometimes. Even with the C1 and 120 BFI, the game is blurry to begin with. So yeah, it looks better in motion, but this thing is just so blurry, and we also have trailing artifacts and ghosting and all of that. So we have a lot to fix when it comes to the clarity of the content, gaming and movies and shows and all of that. It's just a complete mess. Like, it makes no sense to have content that's low frame rate when all the cameras we have today are a lot higher frame rate. I mean, for example, this live stream is 30 FPS, 1080p, but that's a bandwidth limitation and all of that. If I could, I would make it higher. But you get the idea. If there is a limitation, I understand. But for example, UFC notching in the Sphere this year, the budget for that event was just crazy, like $20 million. Fantastic event. It was not 4K. It was like 1080p and 30. That makes no sense. Like, if you're spending all that money, you have all the infrastructure, everything is ready, why would you keep the same crap? Actually, there was one journalist who asked Dana White, why not 4K? And you know what his answer was? It will definitely happen in the future once the technology is there. Well, the technology is here right now. Like, my phone can do 4K 60 HDR. Why not? It just makes absolutely no sense, especially for a pay-per-view, something that you would actually pay to see that premium content. It looks like crap. So yeah, we have to fix the clarity of the content first, and then once the content is clear, I think people are going to start demanding more clarity from the displays and everything. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. So you're correct. It's possible. We do have the 90 and 55 in a QD-OLED. Yeah, there's S90Ds all over the place when it comes to the panel. Yeah, so Sony, good for upscaling. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think Sony does have a motion setting that's automatically increasing the interpolation. If you have a fast moving scene, is interpolating more frames, and then less when you have people speaking and static content. I think that's a good idea. If it looks good, I've never seen it or tested that. So yeah, Sony might have good processing stuff. So let's see what's the deal breaker. The Mac coding in the One Connect box. $500, 26.5, 1440p, 360 hertz QD OLED is a standard now. I think that's a very good price for that performance. I think those monitors are very good. 360 hertz QD OLED looks, in motion, it's gonna look awesome. And I know that because the C1 120 BFI looks like over 300 frames, basically. It looks like 312 based on my testing. So it is not quite 360, but if you are using VRR and you're running your game over 300 frames on an OLED, that looks awesome. It looks very clear. The thing is to get that frame rate is tough. So Samsung 55-inch S90D. Yeah, monitors. The thing with monitors, man, it's just the size. Monitors are too small for the price, in my opinion. But you see, $500, that makes sense. But I got a 55-inch S95C for $760. I know that's difficult. Not everyone can get that deal. You have to hunt for it, but it is possible. So if you can get that deal, I mean, it's not even close. We're talking about 55 inch. It's like almost double with that monitor. Well, almost double, not more than double actually. So, and it's brighter too. It's brighter. It's 4K. I mean, even with the One Connect box and all the issues that I mentioned, it's just so much better. The monitors have to get a lot cheaper, but I think they are getting the price is lower, a lot lower now for sure. So because S90D is only QD-OLED with 65-inch. Yeah, the thing is that you really need to know when you're buying the S90D, what are you getting? It's so tough. So I would definitely recommend you, man, if you're gonna get a Samsung TV, definitely get a membership or a way to ensure your purchase. So make sure you can return it, you can replace it, because yeah, this channel is a testament of that. I had to go through 6 TVs to get to. So yeah, if you cannot return it or replace it, yeah, it's a gamble, honestly. So got a 27-inch 1440p 240 hertz QD OLED for $400. Should I keep it? Oh, it's awesome. Why would you get rid of that? I think that's great. The price is very good. That's great. TVs are better and bigger and better, but they are a lot more expensive too. So it's all about the price. And also with the smaller screen size, the motion clarity is it's not like it is better, but because you have less pixels per degree of view, your field of view, or either if you step back, you watch the TV or the monitor farther away, it looks better in motion. It's gonna look blurrier if you get closer to the screen and the screen is filling your field of view. It's gonna look more blurry. That's how it goes. So a smaller 27-inch display, 240 FPS on that one, that's gonna look very clear in motion. I think that's like the sweet spot. Like better than that, some people might not notice. But yeah, 360 is definitely better. But I mean, for the price you got, I think it's very good. So I don't understand QD better than WRG. Why the G4? So you're saying that you don't understand why QD is better than WRG. Why the G4? So I think the reason why most people selected the G4 was because LG. The settings, the build quality, the reputation, the software. I think if it was the other way, if it was LG QD OLED versus Samsung WRGB, I think it would be not even close, and cheaper too. I mean, it would not be close. So QD OLED gaming monitor. So let me tell you this: I've been watching all the reviews for all the QD OLED monitors from Monitors Unbox and also from the display guy. I've watched his videos, and the problem I see with the monitors is the calibration sometimes is not great. The brightness, especially the peak brightness, is lower than these TVs, significantly lower. They usually have good full screen brightness and sometimes even better full screen brightness than these TVs, but the peak brightness is not as high. And the thing is, these monitors don't have enough settings, or they don't have settings at all sometimes when you turn on HDR. Or for example, if they have BFI, which is something that I really like, they have a very lazy implementation of BFI, and you cannot use HDR when you use BFI. It has to be on SDR. So it's like, why is this ELMB technology from Asus, which is a lazy BFI implementation, which I much rather have them implement something to improve motion, but they should definitely do a lot better than that. Something like what this LGC1 does, which is reducing the duty cycle. Like instead of just inserting a black frame, a whole black frame, that's not efficient. You're not getting the brightest result with that. Actually, my LGC1 with BFI, with 60 BFI, is a lot brighter. Well, not a lot brighter, it's brighter than what this TV is doing with BFI. So that just tells you how inefficient this BFI is. It's just crazy, man. It's not a good way to implement this. So they should definitely, offer proper BFI, which is basically, you see, it's a rolling scan to simulate what CRTs do, like doing this rolling scan. You see a section of the frame and the rest is black. So in that way, they can improve motion beyond the maximum refresh rate. So 240 hertz is going to be 4 milliseconds of persistence. With BFI, you cannot get better than 4 milliseconds of persistence. But if they do the rolling scan, they can be as low as they want, or even flashing the entire screen. That works too. But I don't think that's a good idea for OLEDs because of ABL. If you're flashing the entire screen, the full screen brightness is going to be limiting the overall brightness. So that's not a good idea. For OLEDs, it is a better idea to have a smaller section of the screen, because a smaller section of the screen can be a lot brighter than full screen. So that's the way to go for OLEDs. They should definitely do that. Anyone know how to transfer data to work? It recognizes my PS5, but displays an error when I transfer it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going bottom to top. The LG G5 will be released soon, so I doubt if they'll make a QD OLED. Also, I think Sony will. I'll put out of QD OLED, my opinion only. So yeah, I don't know what Sony's gonna do, but honestly, my opinion, as long as Sony doesn't let you turn off the dimming, they are irrelevant, in my opinion. Like Sony doesn't even matter because they have that dimming. They have to give that option to turn off the ASBL dimming. If they don't give that option, those displays are not good for gaming. That's my opinion. I don't care how good they are. And also the price is just crazy. They have to lower the price, or make them a lot better than the competition. And they are not, in my opinion. But yeah, the G5, 165 hertz, that matters. That matters. That's gonna be a lot better in motion. If you can get 165 frames per second, that definitely matters. That's a selling point for sure. So I like that. They should go 240 if they can. LG has been sitting on RGB OLED for years. It cost a lot, and they still sell WOLED trash, so they keep making it. Oh, so you think LG has already the next technology ready, and they're just waiting, just keep making money? I don't think they're gonna do whatever is best for them. And I think they are actually struggling to survive with WRGB. They might have to lower the price significantly. They have to, man, because it's just QDOLED is the superior technology. They have to lower the price. If they lower the price to compete with mini LED, then I think it's a no-brainer. I will get WRGB over mini LED any day. It's not even close. Mini LED is brighter, a lot brighter, especially full screen. It's not even close, but perfect contrast with the OLEDs. That's just a reason why you get an OLED. Contrast is the most important thing. So WOLED better than QDOLED, 480 hertz each for breakfast, 360 hertz. Well, let me tell you this. Philips, I think it is releasing a 520 hertz QDOLED actually next year. I think it was Philips, or it was not Samsung or LG. I forgot the brand. I think it was Philips. I saw that on the display guy YouTube channel. He made a video about that. I forgot recently, actually. So it's not a matter of the technology. All these technologies are gonna go to 1000 hertz. That's gonna happen. 1000 hertz OLEDs are gonna happen. QD OLEDs and WRGB, they will both have that. Beam says, so when you did S90D 1500 nits, how many clicks is that on the PS5? So that's a good question. I think 15 or 16 clicks is 1000 nits on the PS5. I don't know 1500 how much it is, how many of clicks is. And that's important to know, because when you're using HDR basic static on this Samsung QD OLEDs or even the mini LED, they might be the same. The problem is the PS5 system level calibration or Xbox or the HDR calibration app on the PC, they are, for some reason, they are not triggering the static tone mapping, which is the HGIG from Samsung, which is actually HGIG. I don't know about that controversy. That's actually HGIG, like a proper implementation, in my opinion, from what I can see, because it's actually clipping very close to the actual peak brightness of the TV. So I don't know about the controversy surrounding that. But the thing is, when you're using the PS5 calibration, you cannot rely on visually the test pattern. So you cannot just increase it until the logo disappears, like you obviously should do. And the reason is the TV it doesn't have the right tone mapping trigger. And I demonstrated that on a video. By opening a video, the tone mapping changes to the correct point. So on the PC, for example, I open the HDR calibration app, it's not clipping at 1500 nits, or if you haven't done the mod, if you have not go to the service menu to get 1000 nits or 1500 nits or 2000 nits if you have a different panel, that point it should be 1000 nits. So if you open a game, so I open the HDR calibration app, it's not clipping right. Then I open a video, then restart the HDR calibration app, and now the clipping point is right. Or opening a game works too. So on the PS5, you cannot do that. And on the Xbox, you cannot do that. So you need to know. Well, on the Xbox is no problem, because on the Xbox, you can do bumpers and triggers, and then you can see the max CLL, and you just increase that brightness until you are at 1500 nits, or if you have not done the mod, 1000 nits or 950 or something like that. So on the Xbox, no problem, because it's telling you actually what's the max CLL, but in the PS5, it's not telling you. And you cannot rely on your eyes. So you need to know how many clicks to the right is the 1500 nits. So guess what? Just watch a video from Gaming Tech about the G4 when he does that. I don't remember if he already shared how many clicks is the G4 HGIG, because it's about 1500 nits. So, or otherwise, try to find that information online, like how many clicks. I'm sure you can Google that and get the answer real quick. How many clicks on the PS5 is 1500 nits? And you're gonna get that. It might be 20 or 18, 19, I don't know. You can get that info easy because the G4 is already like that. So a firmware can downgrade the S90D. What third-party equipment is useful? Apple 4K TV, Roku, Ultra, PS5. So I've seen that rumor going around, that a firmware update nerf the S90D brightness and all of that. That is not true, man. That is not true. I don't know why that happens. Maybe a placebo effect. Maybe people saying that are not doing it with malice. Maybe that's what they think they are seeing. But I don't think that's even possible. Especially if you go to a service menu, you max out the ANA pick. Like, it doesn't matter what Samsung is doing. Like, they're not going to change that. They're not going to be able to change that, I believe. Because it would take a very like a severe update to do that. And the thing is, here's the thing. If Samsung releases a firmware to change everything like that, what happens if you are in the middle of the firmware update, you get disconnected or something? Like, you have the potential to brick the TV. So I don't think Samsung will ever take that risk, because it's not going to happen to many people, but some people will happen. They will lose money. So I don't think they will ever do that, man. There's no reason to do that. Now, after a firmware update, if you have the ANA pick max out, and your HM pad pick W plus and all of that on the service menu, you might have to go back and do it again, because it might be resetting all the values. But that's as far as they will go. I don't think they will reduce the brightness. One thing they could do is maybe reduce the ANA pick value on the service menu. So it might be true for some people, after a firmware update, it looks dimmer, because it is. But if you go to the service menu and you max that out, I don't believe Samsung can or will reduce the brightness of the TV. So maybe for people who don't go to service menu, then it might be possible that Samsung might reduce the brightness. But if you go to service menu, you max that out, I don't think Samsung can do anything about that. Or block service menu access. That's not going to happen either. That was another misunderstanding or misinformation going around, that the S90D Samsung blocked the access to service menu. And I showed that with 3 S90Ds, you can access the service menu no problem with the service remote or using the color control app. So that was not true. So I don't think that is true. Now you're asking for third-party equipment useful, Apple 4K TV, Roku. So basically you're thinking, oh, I don't want to connect the Samsung to the internet. I'm going to use an external streaming device. Yeah, I would not upgrade, do the firmware updates if they are not improving anything, but not because I am afraid. Honestly, like, what am I getting? Like, I'm not going to be using one of these TVs as TVs. I'm going to be using them as monitors. So why would I do a firmware update? Because then I have to go to service menu and change everything again. I'm not going to update it because of that. But one of these TVs is going to be updated. So I might do videos about that, checking after the update to see if there is any improvements. One thing I think Samsung should add with the firmware update is the HDR remastering feature that they have on the S90D, on those Costco and Sam's Club TVs. They could add that with a firmware update. If they announce that, I would definitely make a firmware update, and that would be great. But if it's not something like that, I don't see a reason to update the TV. Okay, so let me see how we're doing with the comments. I'm trying to read all of them, and I'm going backwards. But it's a lot. So let me see. We've 1 hour and a half. Let me see. I might have to go to the bathroom because 1.5 hours. Correct. You should. So here's the thing. I'm gonna go and pee. If you guys can wait, I will continue the stream. So we have 60 people right now. Also, if I come back, it's like 20 people. I might read 2-3 comments and finish the stream. But if I come back and you're still here, I might continue. So I'll tell you about it when I come back. Yeah, there's an HDR remastering feature that my S90D doesn't have. And other S90Ds do have, which is crazy. Why would they do that? It should be illegal. So I'll be right back. I need to go and pee. I'm back. Oh, so you guys still there? Thank you very much. Yeah, I usually drink a lot of water, and I've been eating a lot of fruits today, a lot of oranges. So yeah, had to take a piece. Okay, so HDR remastering at Costco. Yeah, so Costco is getting. Actually, I took a screenshot. I took 2 pictures of the back of the S90Ds at Costco. I took a picture of the 65-inch S90D and 77-inch S90D. And they were different from the 3 S90Ds that I got, completely different. Actually, let me see if the stream doesn't, let me watch the pictures a moment. I'll post them in a community post, actually. I'll do a community post when I end the stream so you can see the back of the TV. Then the serial number on the back was not FA02 at all. One of them was from October. No, not October. I forgot. I'll post those 2 in a community post so you see them. Those, I think they are S90DD. They have better sound, I think. But more importantly, they have this new HDR remastering feature. And it's not actually new because those TVs are older than mine. My S90D is from November 2024. So it is like less than a month old. And it doesn't have that feature, which is crazy. And that feature, what it does is that it converts SDR to HDR. It's exactly that. And the thing is, from what I've searched on the internet, and also someone told me about it in the comments, it actually seems to work very well. It seems to be very, very good. And that would be awesome. I think that's an awesome feature. Samsung should release that with a firmware update for everyone. Like I don't think that makes any sense. Why would you have additional features for some stores and not for the rest? That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand that. So that is something that could potentially come with a firmware update. They should definitely do that. So I'll tell you all about it. I'll do some search and see if they will, do that, or let's see. Well, thank you very much, man. Thanks for waiting. Person riding headphones. S90D gets 1750 nits in the Series X. So here's the thing. It is not clipping right. It is not getting 750 nits. The clipping point is different with your Xbox HDR system level calibration, but that's because the tone mapping is not being triggered. So what you have to do, if you have not modded the S90D on the Xbox Series X, change the peak brightness to 1000. So go, press your bumpers and triggers, and you will see in a corner of the screen max CLL. So change the slider to 1000 or even less, actually. I will do a video without modding the TV to share the settings, because I didn't even test that too much. I immediately just max out the brightness on the service menu. All my testing has been done like that. So I think it might be even better to have it slightly below that. Definitely. One video that I'm going to do, even for people who don't want to max out the brightness on the service menu, the Anapic, one thing that we definitely have to fix on the S90D is the active tone mapping. Also the S90C too. The out-of-the-box active tone mapping is terrible, in my opinion. It's clipping the highlights big time. And we can easily fix that on the service menu with one setting. And that is not dangerous at all, other than potentially voiding your warranty. But I don't really care about that. The thing is, if you do that, it's gonna look very, very close to a static tone mapping when it comes to the clipping point. It's gonna be exactly the same. So you're not going to get any blown out highlights, and it's not gonna be more risky. Actually, you will get a little bit less brightness, less of a dynamic tone mapping effect overall. But it's still gonna be a little bit brighter. That bit is gonna be that touch higher brightness than a static tone mapping, but without losing the details. So if you like active tone mapping, highly recommend you to do that. I will do that video, because I think that is something that a lot of people are going to want to use, because a lot of people prefer, of course, a brighter overall HDR. You don't care about accuracy, none of that. We're going to basically make active tone mapping a little bit more accurate, clipping less, and still brighter than static. We can achieve that with one setting on the service menu, and all we have to do is to find the right number. So I will share that. That is a must, in my opinion. But yeah, on the Xbox, And PlayStation 5, you cannot follow the test pattern because the static tone mapping is not triggered. It's not being triggered. For some reason, these Samsung TVs are changing the target for some reason. It's not working right. Like when you actually open the game, it will work right. So if you set it up on the Xbox or PS5 HDR calibration app, if you set it up using your eyes when the logo disappears, when you open the games, you're gonna be clipping the highlights. Is what's gonna happen. It's gonna look kind of blown out. So you have to reduce that. So yeah, on the Xbox, just set it to 1000 or even a little bit less. And on the PS5, Google how many clicks is 1000 if you haven't done the 1500 nits mod. And if you did the 1500 nits mod, Google how many clicks on the PS5 is 1500 nits. That's what I would recommend. How can you check the nits without using the service menu? Check the nits, like you mean check how bright is your specific panel? Like if you got the 2000 nits or if you got the 1500 nits, that's a good question. The thing is, if you get the same model that I got on my S90D, almost guaranteed it's gonna be the 1500 nits panel because I got 3 of them. FA02 on the back. FA02, that's 1500 nits Gen 3. You don't have to go to service menu. Otherwise, I don't know. Without going to service menu, you have to look at that ANA pick. So if the ANA pick is 682, that is 1500 nits. And that goes also for the S90C. If it is 588, that's the 2000 nits panel. But there might be a different value. But from what I've searched, that seems to be the case. WOLED from LG and QDOLED from Samsung. What would you say the ANA pick on Gen 2? Okay, so it's 5. So the S90C has more values. It's 588, 667, I believe, if I remember correctly. Basically the same as the S95C, but I don't remember right that. I don't remember that. The thing is, I share a post on the ABS forums, which had the information that all 65-inch S90Ds on the US, they were all 2000 nits, and that's the reason why I bought the S90D. That's the reason why I spent more money on it. So that's misinformation that affected my decision and actually got me all messed up, basically. And ironically, allegedly, the person who created this post on the ABS forums told me in the comments that I should remove my videos and remove my recommendation or my promotion of the post in the ABS forums, which is crazy because I'm promoting his post if he's actually the creator of that post, because I was being misleading or misinforming people, saying that the S95C was 300 nits full screen or 310 nits full screen. He said that at most was 275 nits. That what I was doing was wrong because I was misinforming people. I'm like, first of all, I don't have a colorimeter. Okay, 25 nits is not something to argue about. The other thing is, I listed my source. I actually got that information from a Spanish-speaking YouTube channel who has a colorimeter and showed the measurement report. It was actually over 300 nits. And actually, there are reports of a stock S95Cs without the mod hitting 300 nits full screen. So what I'm saying is not even misinformation. It's actually the truth. Okay. And I have my sources. Now, if they are wrong, I don't know about that. I don't have a colorimeter to test. But in any case, 25 nits, it's not something that I am like damaging or hurting anyone. If he was the one who made the article, that hurt me. I actually spent more money on the S90D because of what he said. And so that was damaging and misleading, and I didn't say anything about it. So I think that was so stupid. If that's true, yeah, a very knowledgeable person, that's really, it's just nonsense. Okay, so yeah, that happened. So yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes those things happen. So I didn't promote the article. I removed the post from the videos. And I linked the post on the previous videos. I removed it. There are other places where you can get that information. I share a video from this Spanish-speaking YouTube channel. Man, that information is out there everywhere. I just thought it was a very good post on the AVS forums, but unfortunately, it seems like the person who created that post was not a nice person, to say the least. Why you don't talk about other OLED, Asus and Alienwares, etc.? So the thing is, they don't do TVs, they do monitors, and the screen size is too small, man, for the price. Now they are getting a lower price, but the thing is, after you try a big screen for gaming, I think it's difficult to go back, man. I jumped from 48-inch C1 to 55-inch S95C, and I was like, wow, this is so much better now. Just the size increase. I thought it was gonna be a small difference. It's a big difference. And then I jumped to 65-inch, and I'm like, wow, man, this is so awesome. So yeah, I go back from a 65-inch to a 27 or 32-inch monitor. Yeah, it's, of course you can sit closer, but it's not the same. So I don't talk about them because I don't really know too much about them to begin with. Yeah, I think that makes these TVs more interesting too is the settings. They have a lot of settings and a lot of things you can do to change the picture. Those monitors is like, okay, you turn on HDR, boom, you get what you get. There's not a lot you can do with it. So Dan says QD-OLEDs are kind of a hard sell for one simple reason. They have worse contrast than most mini LEDs as soon as there is light in your room. That's a deal breaker to many. Absolutely. I've said that many, many times. QD-OLEDs are not OLEDs if you have light. If the lights are on, you don't have an OLED. It's that simple. That's definitely a deal breaker. But the thing is, I turn off the lights, and when you turn off the lights, it's the way to go. It's not close. Monitors are too dim. Even the Samsung G80SD doesn't have Anapic settings, but Max LUT mod was helpful. Actually, I just watched the Display Guy video about the G80, I think it was. Is that monitor, as 240 hertz QD OLED monitor, that's 4K, and it has the TV interface. It has Tyson basically, and I asked him in the comments if you can also go to the service menu, and if it has Anapic, and if you increase the Anapic, if the full screen brightness goes up too, because he said on the review that was actually one of the dimmest 240 hertz QD OLED monitors that he has tested. So I don't know if he answered the comment, but yeah, if you're saying you cannot get more brightness, that's a bummer, because that would be the monitor to get if you can get more brightness, because usually the monitors don't have that option. SDR to HDR is trash. Maybe in games, but not real content. I think my A80J has it, and it is junk. Samsung doesn't have the Sony processing, so I'm sure it would be as well done as Sony, which is bad. Well, actually, from what I've read on the internet and the feedback, I got from someone who commented about that feature. It is actually very good. And here's the thing. For auto HDR, there's no processing necessary at all. So what I'm saying is there's no real time processing going on. It's just a setting. It's just something set already. Like, okay, here's a SDR paper white, boom. It's just a tone mapping thing to do the HDR. It's super easy. Like, it doesn't, for example, on the PC, you force any of these auto HDR techniques, there's almost no penalty on the GPU processing at all. It's very small, but it's the reason you get some penalty is because probably the higher amount of information, but not because the processor of the TV has to be working constantly or something like that to analyze frame by frame to see what's the dynamically do tone mapping or something like that. It's not. So processing is irrelevant basically. I don't think that matters a lot at all for an auto HDR feature. So I think it might be actually pretty good, but I don't really care too much for the PC because I have other options that are going to be better anyway. But for regular content, it might be very, very nice. OLED still have brighter contrast than mini LED. Even in lit rooms, go to Best Buy and see for yourself. Don't include the S95D because it has a trash matte screen. Yeah, I think for a bright room, I think I would go with a mini LED. But the thing is, for a bright room, why would you get a premium display? You're not enjoying the best picture quality. You need to turn off the lights. It's that simple. QDOLED raised black is only a thing if you've got cranked lamps in the room or direct sunlight. Well, the thing is, man, as soon as I have even the smallest amount of light, for me to be able to see the screen doesn't look black like my LG C1. It doesn't look black. So I know the screen is black, but it is like a paradox. I know it is black, but as soon as I have enough light to see the screen, it doesn't look black. So how do I know it is actually black? So yeah, it is a problem. It lights off completely. Otherwise, it's not an OLED. That's my take. If your TV is gonna be on the living room and you have some light, I will get a C4. That would be my opinion. C4 has the best screen coating. That's what I would get for some light. So yeah. What should I do if the S90C is too bright for me? Too bright. I would do blue light killer settings. That's what I would do. So reduce the blue lights. I will do a video about that. Here's the thing. I'm a little bit, not frustrated, but I'm a little bit, how can I say, like I've tried hard. I've tried very hard to match the S90D on my S90C. I'm telling you, every day. Yesterday, I stood up late, very late actually, working on that because I want to finish calibrating or making my S90C look as the S90D. And if I can do that, actually, the S90D goes to the living room. But I don't think I can do that, man. It's so difficult to get it perfect. Of course, I mean, my family, they are looking at them side by side already, and they're like, they look exactly the same because I have them pretty close, but they don't. It's not the same. So it doesn't matter what I do. I've tried everything. I cannot get them right. And one thing that I know for sure I cannot get perfect is the near black. The S90D near black is perfect. The S90C is crushing blacks. And the 20 points calibration doesn't work. I have no settings to fix that. The shadow detail setting, that raises the blacks. You cannot use that. So the other option is to raise the 2-point calibration, the low, raise the RGB. But if you do that, then you destroy the accuracy. You do get more visibility near black, and I get it actually the same, but as the S90D, but it's not a solution because you make everything worse. So I will share blue light killer settings for the S90C, and that might be the solution for you. But what I'm saying is that I'm still working on the calibration, and I still haven't figured it out yet. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to do that, to perceptually match. I've done it with other displays, but for some reason I cannot get the S90D looks so perfect to me. I cannot get that exactly. It doesn't matter what I do. It's not even close. It is close for most people, but I know they are different. So that's overblown. C-Series having the mirror-like panel is a big problem. Even LG G4 has raised blacks in a bright room. Don't blindly believe the display guy. So what I'm saying has nothing to do with the display guy. I'm telling you my opinion. The C1 has the same screen coating as the C4. And I think that's the absolute best screen coating, period. And the G4 has raised blacks under lighting conditions, and it doesn't look great. It's less worse than QDOLED, but it's still there. So for me, the mirror-like appearance of these LG TVs, that's what I want. That's the best, in my opinion. I do not want any anti-reflective surface treatment at all. And I'm not saying it because I heard that anywhere. It's just my opinion. Anti-reflective, it's just about spreading the light across the entire screen, and that affects the picture quality big time. HMPad Pick W was active in the service menu. So HMPad Pick W Plus is for a static tone mapping, and HM Pick and Pick W dot is for active tone mapping, and HMPad Pick W is for the, it's not for gaming, it's not for game mode, it's for the mode outside gaming. I will do a video about that for the S90D. I already did it for the S95C, for the S90C. I will do it for the S90D, and I will share how you can test it on your own TV to make sure you get it right. Well, I'll get the S95D. I would not recommend it. S95D matte finish and one connect box, broken sound, and very expensive. That's not a good combination. But it's a great TV. It has the best panel. I mean, it's gonna look fantastic, that's for sure. But turn off the lights for sure. But I would prefer to get any, the S90D, even if it's not as bright, just because of the coating, or wait for the F and see if they have a brighter, or if they remove the matte coating from the S95F. If I'm correct, you can only use the PS5 in non-game mode on the S90C with VRR and all off. Why? Why? You're saying you cannot use game mode on the PS5 for the S90C? I've never heard that. Why? PS5 on non-game mode. 682, 10,000, 1040 nits. Yeah, 682 is the 1500 nits panel, and when the Anapic is at 682, you get 1000 nits. Yeah. You mean filmmaker mode? You'll get lots of input lag, or PC mode. Yeah, PC. I use console mode because I use Game Motion Plus, but you can use PC mode. Thanks. The thing is, I think I won't have a scratch problems. Oh, because you think the matte screen it's not going to be as fragile. I'm not sure about that. You might be right. You might be right. But the thing is, man, with the matte finish, you see, when I go to the store, I zoom in. I might do that. They didn't have an S95D at Costco the other day, but I might go to Best Buy and record a video. If you zoom in, you will see the subpixels. They don't look clear. Do that. Go to Best Buy and zoom in with your phone. Have it close to the screen and zoom in to the right spot. You need autofocus to find the right spot so you can see the subpixels. You will see they do not look clear like they do with a glossy screen. So it's like you're looking at the screen and there is something in the middle that's not letting you see well. It's crazy. So it affects the clarity of the display. Have you turned off game mode on the S90C to use with PS5, but on the Xbox, I don't have to do that? Why? Why you have to turn off game mode? Oh, turn off VRR. So you see that it should work with VRR off. Turn off ALLM too, just in case. And then once you have it in game mode and it is working, then turn on again VRR or ALLM if you want. That should fix the problem. Or if the game is 60 FPS, don't use VRR at all. Just use game motion plus. That's much better. You just make sure the game doesn't drop frames, because if it drops, then it is worse. Something is wrong with game mode. Something is wrong. Game mode works on any console. Yeah, it should work. S90C Anapic is 512. What would you recommend changing it to? Max that out, brother. You got the 2000 nits, best TV in the world. Yeah, in my opinion, that S90C with the 2000 nits panel is the best TV you can get right now. It's that simple. So I would just max that out to 1023 and then increase the HM pad Peak W Plus, like I show on the S95C video. You can check those two S95C videos that I did about the 2000 nits mod and enjoy, brother, because that's gonna be ferocious. I bought an S84D from Best Buy. It shows 1023 Anapic. It was new. What does that mean? Well, it means that it's not gonna go any higher than that. I think that's the WRGB. Probably the WRGBs, they have that maxed out, so you cannot get more brightness. That's my speculation. But you let me know. Is that a QDOLED or is it WRGB? I don't know about that model. The monitor space is plagued with OLEDs with awful matte screens. Yeah, especially the WRGB OLEDs. So it is not a. Yes, that's what I'm wondering. Wouldn't use any of them, honestly. Friends, Sony broke, and Allstate gave him the option for either LG B4. Oh, your friend's TV broke. Okay, so you either get the LG B4 or Samsung S85D. Thoughts? I don't know the S85D, but the B4 is a decent TV. I think it has all the features that the C4 has, and just a little bit less brightness. I think I am not sure, or double check online, but I think it has VRR, G-Sync, FreeSync, and it's 120 hertz, same bandwidth, everything. So it's just a little bit less bright than the C4. Probably 800 nits versus 1000 nits on the C4. But check that on Artin's review. I don't know about the S85D, but if I was gonna get a WRGB OLED, I would get an LG. That's for sure. Unless you want to use Game Motion Plus, in that case, make sure that the S85D has Game Motion Plus. I'm not sure about that, but if it has Game Motion Plus is very good. To go from 60 FPS to 120 interpolated, which is pretty good. S85D uses the B4 panel, but I'm guessing the calibration would be worse because the last year's S90C83 had horrible calibration. But B4 has an ugly semi-glossy? No way. B4 is not a glossy panel? I will look into it. I've never heard that. I'll look into it. Check it out. MLA race blacks versus non-MLA. Hey, Nathan Green, how are you doing, man? You got the 83-inch G4. Man, 83 inches. That's awesome. I mean, 83 inches, I don't care. Even if it's a B4 or the size, OLED, that's just next level immersion. That's an awesome TV, man. But yeah, you do have those race blacks. Man, you have to turn off the lights. I don't think it makes any sense. For that premium TV is so expensive. You have to be in a dark room to really enjoy that. S85D QDOLED. I don't know if it's a QDOLED. Get the QDOLED over the B4 for sure. But I don't think it's a QDOLED. All those 80 something, they are WRGB. Yeah, PS5 is almost always upscaling from a lower resolution. Bro, C4 has mirror-like reflection. I guess the benefit is you can watch the content plus your family sitting by your side. It's not like that, man. It keeps the contrast. It keeps the contrast. I think that's the best coating. I wish. I mean, I would pay $100. I would pay $300. Okay, for these two TVs to have the same look when the screen is off than the C1 or C4. Definitely, man. It will be so much better. It's not even close. That's the best thing about these LG TVs. Yeah, B4. So, well, wait, I'm not sure about the B4 anymore, though. If it has a semi-glossy screen, if the B4 has an anti-reflective surface treatment or something like that, no. Double check that, man. Do your research and see if the B4 has something matte going on or something like that. Because if that's the case, and the Samsung is glossy, I would get the glossy. So check that out. I didn't know about that. So let me see if I can finish the reading the comments, and we finished the stream. We're over 2 hours already. See, I got any lamps on, and I was fighting with my C2 to see what's going on in movies and games. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, if you shine a direct light over the screen, you're not gonna see anything on any TV. But at least you can have some indirect lighting, and it's gonna be. So the thing is, even if you see the reflection on the screen, you still keep the contrast. What you don't want is with light, the entire screen loses the perfect blacks, and the contrast is affected big time. That's what you don't want. If I increase the PLC default luminance on S95D and increase the anopic brightness together, would it make it more of an impact on brightness at the same time, or just have it on one or the other? So I don't know about this PLC. I don't know what that is. What on the S95D, you can max out the anopic and increase the HMPAT peak W plus. I think it is over 200, and I forgot. But here it's very easy to set up. Very easy. Open a white clipping pattern. Max out the Anapic, and then do this. Max out Anapic, restart the TV, then open a white clipping pattern. Go to service menu again, and go to HM Path Peak W plus. Make sure you have a static tone mapping. And then with the white clipping pattern on the background, start increasing that HM Path Peak W plus until it is clipping at 3000 nits. It's that simple, man. It's so easy. You can set that up in 5 minutes. It's easy. Of course, then you can spend a lot of time trying to make sure it's perfectly at 3000 nits and yeah, and go with the details. Also, you can spend more time tweaking the active tone mapping. It is also important to tweak the peak W dot, which affects the active tone mapping, because it affects the static tone mapping too. So you also want to increase that one. So basically, you have to increase those two numbers to have both a static and active tone mapping clipping at 3000 nits. So that might take a little bit longer, but that's as far as I know for the S95D, that's all it takes. I don't know about this PLC default luminance that you're talking about, but maybe you also have to change that. I didn't see that anywhere. For the reason saying too bright, I usually use energy saving when watching YouTube. I understand his situation. These OLEDs can be too bright for bedroom use. I don't think so. I think they are not bright enough. Yeah, I don't think I would never. That's like, it should be illegal, bro, to use energy saving. You pay for that brightness. If you kill the brightness, that's like having a Lamborghini and not going full throttle. I mean, why you have a Lamborghini to go at 40 miles an hour? You have to go to the tracks, okay, and just go full. Otherwise, like, why would you have all that brightness and color? Yeah, that sucks. Is there a big difference between non-game mode and game mode? I don't think I'll ever get my PS5 Pro working game mode, and I did turn off all and the ALM and VRR. Man, you're having a weird issue. Try a different HDMI port, maybe. See what's going on there. That shouldn't be happening. The difference is big when it comes to the input lag and everything. Maybe try PC mode. Try PC mode and set the PS5 to 60 hertz output and see if that works. Yeah, the difference is big when it comes to the input lag. Also, some people were saying that the 1500 nits mod on the S90D didn't work, or S90C didn't work outside of gaming, of the game modes. I'm not sure about that. I haven't tested that. So someone's trying to help with that. So yeah, check that out. People trying to help. Thank you very much for trying to help our PS5 brother here. I'll see an online gaming monitor or TV, no problem for me. Oh, maybe he's in a store or showroom mode or something like that. Yeah, there's something weird going on there. So you're getting a black screen. Yeah, that's weird, man. Try a different HDMI port and see. Yeah, let's leave it there, man. We've been streaming over 2 hours long. I could be doing this all day. It is kind of addicting. So yeah, let's leave it there. Let me see how far I am with the comments. Yeah. So let's leave it there, man. I couldn't read all the comments, but it's a lot. But yeah, So conclusion, I believe the community said G4 over the S90D for that price. Close. The price was close. I disagree. I would go with the QDOLED, even when I like the LG settings and the calibration controls a lot better. The G4 is brighter, that's for sure. It has more full screen brightness. On SDR, it's like 300 nits, which is much higher than the 200 nits you can get with the S90D. The S90D is Samsung quality control. You don't know even which panel you're going to get, depending on the region. You might get a WRGB 2000, 1500 nits. You don't know what you're getting with Samsung. But if you get the right one and it is in one piece, it's a QD OLED, the colors are better. And if you're in a dark room, that's the way to go. If you have sunlight, maybe the G4 is going to look better because you get raised blacks, but it's not as bad as QD OLED. But for some lighting conditions, I would get the C4. And that's what I think. Okay. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. You can drop a comment on the live stream. Thanks for everyone who was here. And you guys have a good one out. I still have a lot of videos in the pipeline, but I've been trying to match the S90C, man. Because here's the thing, my S90C is actually brighter than the S90D. It is brighter. It is brighter full screen consistently. Even with warmer color temperature, it is brighter than the S90D. Peak brightness is also better. But the thing is, the S90D the calibration is so awesome. And it just hurts for me to not be able to match the S90D and have to keep the S90D for me instead of the S90C because it's not as bright as the S90C. So it's like, oh man, I'm still working on it. So that's why I wanted to do this live stream today, so I have more time. Because making the videos takes some preparation time. Testing the settings or whatever I'm going to share on that video. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I will share my results if I get it any better. But for now, it's not looking great. I don't think I can. Honestly, I don't think it's possible to match the calibration. It's close. I mean, my family says it's the same. And I'm like, no, it's not the same. If you look at here, it's more green. This one is more magenta. They're like, yeah, we can see that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it is for me. So let's leave it there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you have any questions, thanks for being here. You guys take care and have a good one.